What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. This is Tamisha with Tamisha Tutoring, and in today's video I want to really talk about the 4 keys to being successful with this NBCOT exam that I feel like people often struggle for. And this strategies and these tips are really meant not only for my OTA students, but as well as the OT students, right? It's really applied across the board. And this is also a way that you can also be successful in my Tamisha Tutoring program. So if you're like, yeah, Tamisha, let's jump right into this and find out what are those 4 key topics or strategies or must know, must have, you're in the right place. Let's go. Hey guys, so I got my whiteboard here and I'm ready to rock, and I hope you are too. So these are going to be the topics that we're going to discuss, okay? So there's 4 keys, all right? So there's 4 keys, and these 4 keys that I feel is going to be vital, is going to be beneficial, and these are what I call your must-have for success. Not just with my program, but just with the exam altogether. Okay, the first one I would say is discipline. Okay, you got to be disciplined. I have noticed that people are very easy to begin things, or I should say people tend to be very willing to begin something new, right? And this, this could be my program. This could be just anything in life. People, like let's say losing weight, right? It's very easy for people to build up the motivation to begin, right? Everybody in the new year is excited because they're like, oh, fresh start. And they have a list of their goals and I'm going to do this. And they're ready to begin. And they have this sense of discipline, right? That they feel like, oh yeah, I'm going to be disciplined this time. And then as they start the process, they slowly start to fall off. And that's because they're following motivation, but they're not sticking with discipline. So in order to be successful in my program, and just anything in life, you have to become disciplined. And what does that look like? That looks like when you create your study plan, you stick with it. When you create your study schedule, you stick with it. When you say you're committed, you stick with it. Life is gonna life. That's what I tell people. Life is lifing. So we don't know what's gonna happen. We don't know what curveball is gonna be thrown your way. But when you make the decision to commit to something, no matter what, you might even need to work around your schedule, or you may need to work around your study plan, but you're still sticking with it. And that's what is the most important thing, right? So the first one is discipline. All right. The second one that's going to be very important is foundation. And you guys are kind of getting a snippet into what I talk about on my program, right? So foundation is very important, because if you don't have the foundational concepts of clinical scenarios, clinical understanding of the material, you're going to struggle. I don't care how well you break down questions. I don't care how well you have a strategy on how to answer them. If you don't have basic foundational occupational therapy knowledge for the exam, you're going to struggle. If you don't have basic knowledge with splinting, if you don't have basic knowledge with, let's say, orthopedic conditions, if you don't have basic knowledge with, let's say, pediatric milestones and the reflexes, you're going to struggle. Okay? That's just me being honest. And this is one thing that we really focus on in my Tamisha Tutoring program is foundation. Hence the reason why we have a 12-week course. 10 weeks of that is all foundational material to help you gain an understanding of what we do and why we do, right? Our process and our domain, okay? So that is vital. The third thing is strategy. In order for you to truly be successful with this exam, you have to have strategy, okay? And when I say strategy, that's strategy when it comes to understanding what you're reading, comprehension. Strategy is understanding how to break down the questions. Strategy is to understand what is the question asking and what is the question expecting of you. Okay, this is all strategy, and this is the next thing that we really focus on into the Tamisha tutoring program, is we focus on really locking in different strategies. Okay, if you're stuck on a question, what is the strategy? How do you proceed? If you have a question where maybe you don't really know some of the vocabulary, how do you navigate through this? When you come across a question, what is the question asking? What is the question truly saying? What is the question looking for pertaining to the OT process, right? So this is all strategy. Strategy is very important versus just reading the question and then picking the best answer that you feel is best, okay? So this is very important. And then lastly, okay, number 4, is mindset. Mindset is going to be really important because if you have a negative mindset, this is going to hold you back every time. Okay? And all of these work together because when it comes to mindset, if you're allowing yourself to feel like you can't do this, if you're telling yourself that this exam is rigged, if you're telling yourself this is just too hard, I don't understand how people even pass in this exam. If you're telling yourself, I don't even know if I'm good enough. If you're telling yourself, I don't think I'm even properly prepared, you're already setting yourself up for a negative mindset. So by the time you even walk into the testing center, you're already putting yourself in a defeated mindset. So this is something that we teach in my Tamisha tutoring program, hence why we have a mindset coach. Okay, every, I would say bi-weekly, there is live mindset coaching. And this can have to do with struggles with the exam. And this can also be just day-to-day life situations that might be creating a blockage or a challenge, right? So this is why I take mindset very, very important. So my whole program, Tamisha Tutoring, is all about holistic tutoring, right? We focus on you as the individual, we focus on your situation, and we try to build up and fortify these key areas so you could be successful. All right, so this is my tip for you. If you want to be successful with this exam, okay, and this is going to trickle over to when you are actually done with the exam, you have to get a job and you have to work, right? Because you have to be disciplined. When you walk into your job, you got to be disciplined and manage your schedule. You got to know the foundation, right? So you have to understand what's going on with your clients' diagnoses, because a lot of times people won't have just one thing. They might be a complex case, right? So you have to have that foundational knowledge anyway. Then you need to know the strategy. How are you helping this person? How are you going to help them go from their short-term goals to their long-term goals? How are you going to help them when they are first evaluated? Now you're doing intervention to get them to their discharge point, right? So you got to have some kind of strategy. And of course, you're going to have to be mentally fortified, because if you're not mentally fortified, this is a gateway to being burnt out. This is a gateway of struggling and just throwing in the towel. And trust me, guys, I have seen it happen in the field where there is clinicians that get so burnt out and they're so tired, and you can see it in their work. So I don't want that to be you. So I hope that this was helpful. Make sure you apply this. And if you're somebody that says, you know what, Tamisha, I need this in my life and I want to see what this is all about, please come to my free webinar that's happening very, very soon. I'm constantly doing these free webinars. So if for any reason you missed the date, don't worry. Still sign up for the webinar, because we're always going to have them more frequently. Okay, so that's about it. And I will see you guys in another video. Make sure you like, share, and don't forget to subscribe. All right, guys.